Hello everyone, Tony here bringing you a Union Arena deck profile video. Today we're going to be looking at Yellow Sword Art Online playing the Integrity Knight version of Yellow. I have become quite fond of this deck. I've had the deck for about a month now. And just playing this deck gives me such a rush. This is what I wish Red Demon Slayer was. They work on the same premise of needing multiple units on the board to fulfill effects, which I'll explain as this video goes through. I have played this deck in the last two tournaments I played in. And in the first one, I placed third or fourth, I believe. And in the last one, I placed second. So overall, the deck has performed very well. Last tournament, in my second round, I did get stuck. I didn't get past like two energy for a few turns. And, that was just card game stuff. I'm not salty about that. It was a fun event overall. And, the person I did lose to that eventually won first place, my boy Supreme 3G. And overall, the deck is fun to play. I'm gonna share the list, get into it. So starting off, your staples for your zeros is gonna be 4 Yu-Gi-Ohs, 4 Alices, and 4 Kiritos. Now, the one gripe I have about these guys is the only one we get is Alice, because the deck is central focused on Alice. She is the main character of this deck, but you need all three on the field for your effects to go off, namely in the front row. Now, this Yu-Gi-Oh! I have a love-hate relationship with, because you can do a few cute things with him with the 4-cost Kirito, but 500 BP is not enough to do damage to a wet napkin. So overall, I wish he had Step at the very least. Not Step, I'm sorry, Get. Whereas this Kirito doesn't have an effect, but he's 2000 BP. So at least in the early games, plus Step, you're able to swing early and kind of tuck him to prevent him from getting beaten up until you need him later. For 1 cost, I'm only playing 2, and it's 2 Alices. I don't know what it is about this card. 2500 BP is nice. Has Step, nice. But for whatever reason, I cannot go a game without this card being in my life. I don't know why she's glued to it. And honestly speaking, I wish this card could talk so she can explain herself, because what the hell. Going into our 2 costs, I play 4 Yu-Gi-Ohs. This is one of your search cards in a deck. Look at the top 4 for Kirito or an Alice. Silent a card, 3000 BP, which is nice. No effect though, so this deck does have a lot of non-trigger cards, so that's something to take into account when you're taking damage. And then to round off the 2 cost, for Eldritch Synthesis 31, 3500 on your opponent's turn, so he's a good for chump blocking the smaller bodies, and he has a draw trigger, which is appreciated. Going into your 3 cost, we're playing 4 copies of Synthesis 2. Draw trigger, like the aforementioned card. When played, you draw a card, trash a card, and it's a double energy gen, which is the most important part of this card. Because your Alice, who's also a 3 cost, generates you 2 energy, but you'll need that to raid sometimes, or sometimes she'll be in the front line attacking. This having 2 energy gen helps a lot, and I wish they did something like this for green GGO, where they had an alternate 3 cost that had a good trigger, had a good effect, because that Kirito sure as hell doesn't. Play this as a 4 of. Rounding out my 3 cost, I am playing 4 copies of the color trigger Alice. She has Step if Kirito and Yu-Gi-Oh's in the front. She's a 4K on your turn. Double energy gen, lovely card overall. Going to the 4 cost now. I am playing 2 Kiritos. This card is absolutely amazing. When Yu-Gi-Oh and Alice are in the front line, he gains double attack. And being that you can grab him from life because he has a get trigger, you almost never miss out on his effect. And with the proper patience and coordination of attack strings, this guy is very deadly. Your opponent will look to get rid of the single target Alices or Yu-Gi-Ohs, but if you have multiple copies of them, they'll most likely get rid of this because that double attack is imposing, and most people cannot block the onslaught that this deck tends to go with relatively early. Finishing off my 4 drops is going to be 4 raid Yu-Gi-Ohs. This is one of the most overtuned cards in this deck. He has Impact, Nullify Impact, and then when he is sidelined, you can give a Kirito and Alice in the front line 1000 BP and nullify impact. What? Like, this is the way that Red Demon Slayer needed to be designed, because the Inosuke, the Zenitsu are very underwhelming in comparison to something like this. Um, he's just Impact One was completely unnecessary on this card, but I am here for it. Thank you for making this card broken. And finishing the last of my character cards, I am playing four copies of the 5-cost Alice. When you raid her, she blows up card with 2,000 BP or less. If Yu-Gi-Oh or Kirito is on the front, 3,000. If Yu-Gi-Oh and Kirito is on the front, 4,000. So she is a very, very strong card. Doesn't have any other effects outside of that, but typically speaking, I use her for the sake of destroying your opponent's like raid targets. So a lot of times people put like the smaller bodies in the front, so that way if things get hit out of life, they'll raid for it and then be able to stop your attack. I like to use her to be disruptive. So if you have something that's 3,000 BP, I'm blowing it up. If you have something that I know raids with 1,500 BP, I am blowing it up. Like, whatever you put out there that I could blow up, I will blow up. Like, I have a special card for particular targets. She is meant to do the dirty work of where I don't want to use the special cards typically. Now, this card is currently experimental. You can replace this card with the 2-cost energy gen that when it's active, it's 2 energy. I'm currently playing 2 copies of Giga Cedar. And the reason why I'm playing this is typically when you get to your double energies, sometimes you'll get cards that get stuck in the back. So ideally, if this is in the back and I have the Yu-Gi-Oh in the front with the 4,000 BP, and I need to clear space, I just rest this card and I draw 2 cards off of it. So it replaces itself with new materials, as well as getting rid of itself in the back line. However, I can understand why this might look a little off-putting to you. So if you want to use something like the 2-cost unit that gains extra energy when it's set to active, completely understand. This is an experiment right now, and so far I'm enjoying it. And then the typical 4-4 final special split. Nothing really to explain here. You know what these cards do. Overall, wow, this is a really short video. Overall, though, this deck, the aggression that it provides, the utility, it's just so good. And even with cards like Eldred, that it can stop the early game like damage, chump blocking, and the replacement dual energy is something that a lot of decks don't really have sometimes. And this, like, it just fits so well. All of it is like on theme. I don't have to borrow nothing from like the goddesses aspect of this deck. Just overall, the deck is really strong. And you need to approach this deck with a semi-aggressive mentality. So if your opponent is playing from behind, you punch him in the face. If your opponent is leaving openings, you punch him in the face. Like, whatever you can do to make your opponent stressed out, this deck will do it. So you need to play this deck as if you're trying to do that. That's the list for right now. If you have any questions, leave them in the bottom. I want to thank you guys for watching my video. You guys have a good day.